What do you think is the biggest disadvantage of technology? Answer. Everybody knows that technology has changed us on our most intimate levels, but nobody really wants to face the specifics of how. I believe technologists have a blind spot when it comes to their effects on intimacy. Since you can't quantify it, what does it matter? The great analysts of human intimacy are equally blind when it comes to registering the subtle interruptions of the machines. Alice Munro's short stories, widely considered the most intimate portraits of domestic life in the period between the 1970s and the 2010s, smack dab in the middle of the grand technological disruption. Never mention a computer. It seems too silly, too negligible, a distraction from the real business of intimate life, which is family and sex. And there is another problem. You mentioned a smartphone in a short story about intimate life. The subject of that story would be the smartphone for sure. The technology would swallow all other meaning in fiction, just as it does in real life. The failure to deal with the intimate implications of digital connectivity therefore leads to widespread mistakes. It is a general assumption, and not just among old people, that the rise of digital connectivity has led to a decline in intimacy. The ethereal nature of digital connection, its ephemerality, its facelessness, stands in the counterpoint to the freshness and materiality of the analog. The download is not the same as the album. Netflix is not the same as the movie house. Tinder is not romance, etc., ad nauseum. Technology is, at best, a trade-off of intimacy for convenience. That's the general idea. The problem with the general idea, unfortunately, is that it doesn't reflect reality. The digital world is soaked in intimacy, I believe, and I am amongst the youngest persons alive who has not shared naked pictures of herself with her partners. Facebook and Instagram are massive, interconnected displays of intimate scenarios, family vacations, graduations, 90th birthday teas, Christmas morning with boxes unwrapped, everybody's family out in the open. There's birth tube. There are unprecedented masses of pornography in the most graphic nature. Digital connectivity has fundamentally altered as ancient an intimate practice as masturbation. Masturbation used to be a work of memory and imagination, a dreamlike reconstitution of the erotic considerations of the everyday. Now it is a search through images cataloged in permutations and combinations of the total existing sum of externalized desire contained in a series of databases. Conversations on social media are, however, almost entirely personal in nature. Every Twitter or Facebook discussion inevitably descends from an external subject, like organic farming, video games, poetry, to interpersonal gripping, like your tone is insulting, or who do you think you are? Politics on the internet indulges a hatred for the other side that's unprecedented in its intimacy and ferocity. Those people are scum, and I hate your guts. are the principal political messages of the era of digital connectivity. Again, my position in time gives me a peculiar perspective. I remember when an entire news cycle tried to reckon with the meaning of George H.W. Bush checking his watch during a debate with Bill Clinton. It's hard to believe, I know, but that's what politics used to be. A gesture as mild as checking your watch would be construed as some kind of insight into the life perspective of a presidential candidate. In the era of Facebook and Twitter and 4chan, a president comparing porn stars he is sleeping with his daughter passes by barely noticed. We have been overwhelmed by revelations of an intimate nature. There is nothing but intimacy left. Or rather, there is no more or no less intimacy now than there was during the analog era. The intimacy has been transferred to another format. Human beings are intimate creatures. After entering a world of impersonal connection, human beings cannot help but respond by rendering every interaction as personal as possible. Faced with a civilization based on the uniform resource locations, we express ourselves in lust and hunger and violence. Sitting in front of infinitely interchangeable and accessible screens, each of us stupidly needs to feel special and will do what it takes. The content of the internet is always in rebellion against its form. The form is smooth universality. The content is the foul rag and bone shop of the heart. A few days ago, I had great trouble identifying a painting I was sure I had seen somewhere. It was a kind of parody by Botticelli's The Birth of Venus, where instead of rising from the lush Mediterranean, the goddess of love was rising from a sea of garbage. Venus was the porn star in this image I was looking for. All the other figures on the image were pop culture references. One of them might have been Chewbacca, I thought. I spent almost half a day on Google trying to find this tantalizing image. It sounded like something a young Coons might have made, or maybe Takashi Murakami, or stretching a bit, Chris O'Feely. I couldn't find anything even close, no matter how I searched or where. These moments when Google fails, when the internet does not have the information you require, are so frustrating precisely because they're so rare. Because you know the information is out there, and the fault must be yours. Slowly, it began to dawn on me. This painting I was scouring the internet for did not exist. No one had painted it. It was my own image. I had assumed that my imagination was already an archived artifact in a database. Anyway, the crisis of intimacy is not some accident, some coincidence with the rise of smartphones and social media. It is so hard to see the specific outlines of the relation, and not just because of the standard difficulties of establishing the true meaning of statistics. Who can see their own distortion clearly? Amara's law, which states that we tend to overestimate the effect of technology in the short run and underestimate the effect in the long run, is true of human fate in general. In history, as in our intimate lives, the decisions we don't consider are the ones with the most profound consequences. A mother's off-handed remark, a party attended at the last minute. These shape us in ways paralyzing to contemplate. Kranzberg's law, Technology is neither good nor bad, neither is it neutral, has the good sense to acknowledge the inevitability of misunderstanding. It's why time is the ultimate twist ending. It's why the consequences of technology are never what anyone thinks they are. All in all, as the various venues of digital connectivity become the whole of the public realm, the public realm will be a collection of alienations, a bunch of beetles in a bunch of boxes. In an all-sharing world, what we don't share will define us. The secret will be irrelevant because it is not on the network. It will be the part of us that matters. And that is the end of my answer.